Hello there, and welcome back to an episode 5 review of the Obi-Wan Kenobi series. So here we go with episode 5. Spoiler warning like always, but you already know that. So let's just jump into it. This one has been my favorite yet. I know I'm pretty sure I've said that every time, but yeah, this one was good. We had a lot of good moments. We had a huge plot twist. There was a lot was going on, and yeah, this was definitely a good episode. So we start off with, of course, the third sister becoming the new Grand Inquisitor. Vader promotes her to the new Grand Inquisitor. And she's like, okay. And then they launch their assault on the little bunker that Obi-Wan and all the people that are trying to get through the path are hiding out in. And then the Lola got hacked with whatever kind of tracking device that Riva had put on her. So then she's getting so so then she hacks, sorry, their doors in turn because she's like evil now. And then I don't know why I'm giving a robot a gender, but you get it. uh you know what I'm talking about. Yeah, so Lola hacks like the little bunker door and they can't open it, so they can't get their ship out. And then of course they start the assault, so they're trying to get the ship out, and Obi-Wan kind of tells everyone like, "Hey, we just need enough time so that we can open that door again, get our ship out, and we'll leave, and then we'll just escape the Empire before they get the chance. We just got to hold them off." So that's what they try to do is they set up some army and they try to hold them off. Leia crawls into this little vent here, um, so that because she's the only one that's small enough to do it. So then she goes by and she tries to find the thing, but that's like a side plot basically. Anyways, so they're going, and Obi-Wan's like, he's kind of ready. He's like, well, he's coming up with a lot of plans. He's leading again. He's being a leader here, which is really nice to see. And he has he's a little talk with Tara saying, and she says that, when she was like with the Empire, they brought in a bunch of people to the Inquisitors and they didn't know what they were going to do. And she sees the Inquisitors just kill them, and she's like, "Hey, like I think something. I don't remember the exact numbers. She says something. Like, hey, like 14 of them died, and 6 of them were children. So she saves people to to make up for that. And she tells Obi-Wan like, "Hey, yeah, I understand that it's not easy. There's some things we can't forget." So they have like that little bonding moment. It's like, damn, okay, you learn a little more about her character. So the third sister launches her assault on the bunker, and it's they got like a cannon. They're gonna break through the door. So Obi-Wan, he's like, well, I'll stall for time. So he's like, let me talk to her. So he starts talking to her, and he's like, and he realizes something, and he's like, you're not trying to serve Anakin, are you? Like, there's something more to this. And then this is where we get this huge plot twist, and I was like, oh shit, she's because he figures out, which is also, I think this is a nice detail because Vader's not supposed to let like he doesn't let anyone know that like he is Anakin Skywalker. Like no one's supposed to know that. Like he usually kind of deals with people, if you know what I mean, that figure that one out. So it's like, how would she know? Like it doesn't really make any sense how she would know. But the reason is because yeah, it was a nice detail that they actually explained this because it would have been like a really weird like plot hole. Anyways, but yeah, so it turns out she was actually a youngling, one of the younglings in the temple that that he killed, but she just played dead, and she what he as the little kid said, he's like, Master Skywalker, what are we going to do? Like they thought he was gonna help them. That's what she says, and then she watched as he slaughtered like everyone. And she played dead, and eventually she joined the Inquisitors with the goal of eventually getting her revenge on him. So I was like, oh, that is good. Like I'm really liking where they've taken her character. Like, okay, now that's cool. So Obi-Wan ends up figuring this out, and they have this talk, and she tells him all that, and he's like, well, we can defeat him together. So then he makes that plan with her, but she's like, where were you? Like, where he's your Padawan, like, where were you to save us when that happened? And he doesn't really have a response for that. So she declines his help, and she's like, nope, we're gonna do this my way, which was, of course, the way like they originally planned. She tries to break the bunker. So they break in, and then you get this really, really good fight scene where all the stormtroopers are coming and Obi-Wan's deflecting all the blaster bolts, and it's really good, and you have all the rebel forces shooting back, and I was like, okay, well now we're finally getting some action, just like the last episode. Like, there just hasn't been like enough action recently. But then this is where things get sad. So not every character makes it, and Tara is one of the ones that gets shot by the stormtroopers. And that robot dude, the robot guy, he makes a stand. Like, he's just absolutely like mowing down stormtroopers, just, and they're trying to run past him. He just like beats them up. It's actually really cool. But yeah, he ends up dying. So it's like, well, he's dead. And they have this like moment where he like looks at her, and then Obi-Wan's trying to fight his way toward Tara, but she already knows what has to be done. So she gets like a thermal detonator grenade, right? And then she shoots the door so it closes on him. He can't. And then she blows up a bunch of stormtroopers, taking them with her. So it was like a good scene, but it was like, yeah, now we're starting to get into the meat and potatoes of this here. And Obi-Wan tells people that he's gonna fight. He's gonna stand up to Vader because they expect him to run. And then he gives the lightsaber to them, and they're like, how are you gonna fight with no weapon? He says there are other ways to fight. So he goes up and he surrenders, and then he tells Reva like, like, we can we can fight Anakin together. Like, we can take him down. And she's like, well, isn't he going to expect it? And he says no, because he's only going to be focused on me. So that's where they come up with this plan that she's gonna like, stab him in the back here. So I'm like, all right, let's see where this goes. Anyways, he manages to free himself, and they get the ship fixed finally. Leia finds Lola, and then she takes a little beacon thing out of her, and it's like, already fixed. There we go. It's really simple, actually. And then she fixes the door. Door opens. They get the ship, but Vader comes in because he's like, obviously he wants to find Obi-Wan himself. So once he's told that he's in there and like captured, he goes for him, and the ship tries to take off, and Vader like pulls down the entire ship with the Force, and it's like, oh yeah, right. Like, it's one of those moments. That's how strong this guy is. Then he starts ripping it apart, and it's like, oh, but it was a decoy, and then the real ship just takes off. So he got memed on that one. And as he's standing there in his disappointment, Reva thinks, this is the time. So she goes for it, but he sees it coming, and he blocks it with the Force, and she just tries to go for him, and doesn't even pull out his lightsaber yet. He just uses the Force to stop all of her attacks. And it's like just one of those. I thought it was a really cool scene because you can see how he's just absolutely leagues ahead of her in terms of power level. Like, it's not even close. Then that's what they were showing with that. And she takes out her lightsaber. He just steals it with the Force basically, and then he snaps it in half, and he gives her one half. And it's like, and he keeps the other one. It's like, oh, okay, they want a duel here. So yeah, they have a good duel, and I was like, dude, they can't just end this fight without a lightsaber duel. Like, come on, I want to see it. But like, it doesn't last long, and you can tell Vader's clearly toying with her, and it's just like, what I liked about the choreography with the scene was that he just blocks her attacks, like, just kind of like all just it just looks so effortless. Like, she's trying so hard, and he's just not trying at all, and he's still winning. Then the fight doesn't last long, and he ends up stabbing her. And he's like, hey, I knew it, or he said something like, it was wise of him, of Obi-Wan, to use you against me. So yeah, he knew the whole time, it looks like. He said he remembered her. He's like, yeah, I remembered you, youngling, or something like that. So it's like, damn, this man really knew the whole time. And then he stabs her, and they reveal that the first Grand Inquisitor is actually fine, and he just like, he takes his little Grand Inquisitor patch back from her. But they don't finish her off, and she lives. And it's like, I don't know, like, I didn't really like that. Like, I don't understand why she survived. Like, I thought that was a good ending to her character arc. Like, you don't always succeed, but I liked where they took her character, but for some reason she actually survived. It was a nice quote. The Grand Inquisitor said something about like revenge is like a good motivator to stay alive or something. So I guess that's what she's doing now, and that's what he said. Like he said, you should know best because that's what she did the first time when he. So it was a pretty meaningful quote. Another thing I forgot to talk about in this episode is they have this fight scene with Anakin and Obi-Wan, where it's like a flashback like training scene. I mean, it takes you out of it a little bit because they have Hayden Christensen back, right? And it's awesome, and it's like, but it's a little weird because you can tell he's like clearly older, which they do like their best at making him still look young, but like it looked a little off to me. I was just like, yeah, he looks like really old here, and Anakin like wouldn't look like that at that time. But I mean, it's like you can't blame them. Like they did their best, and the whole lesson that you learn from that fight training scene is Obi-Wan and Anakin fight each other, and Anakin's like, he's very skilled, but he just keeps pushing, and he's very arrogant with it, of course, and he's too aggressive, and Obi-Wan's trying to teach him that, and Anakin thinks he has Obi-Wan cornered at the end of the fight, but he Obi-Wan manages to get out, and he steals Anakin's lightsaber, and he's like, hey, Anakin, like, he won in the end, and he's like, you're a great warrior, Anakin, but you won't ever become like you won't ever graduate from Padawan before you let go of your need to prove yourself. And that's kind of why that it's a metaphor for the episode. That's why he wasn't able to accomplish what he wanted in this episode. And I also thought it was a good metaphor for Reva because that's what she'd been trying to do throughout the whole series, is that she was trying to prove herself. It was like she had to prove. Of course, now it's revealed that part of her motivation is also to kill Anakin here, or Vader, whichever one you prefer. But you know, I thought it was a good metaphor for both of them, and that's I really like that detail in this episode. So yeah, this was a great episode. But how we end it is with Reva being alive, and there's some message from Owen, or not? No, not from Owen, from Organa to Obi-Wan, and from like a little one of those like hologram beacon things, but that got left behind, and the message says something about to be honest, my apologies, I wasn't actually paying that much attention at the exact moment when I was eating dinner at the same time watching the episode, but he said something about like I think Organa said like does he know, and like we need to protect the boy on Tatooine, and something about Owen. So then Reva finds this and she hears this like Owen, does he know, or something about, and Tatooine. So if she does survive, what I think is now going to happen to the next episode, I discussed it with a friend, is that she's probably going to go to Tatooine, and like for some reason I don't know if she would know that Luke is Anakin's son, but like since he took her family from her, which like her family was the younglings, she might try to do the same to him, and then we're end up gonna probably have a fight between her and Obi-Wan, or her and someone else, where she's now gonna go to Tatooine. I think that's what we're gonna see in the last episode, because the last shot we get of this episode is of Luke sleeping. So I'm like, well, they're definitely trying to bring Luke into it. Seems like now Obi-Wan has successfully rescued Leia finally, after she got captured like 19 million times. But then, yeah, it looks like he'll be bringing her back, and that story's going to be resolved. So I think, yeah, what we're going to see here is the third sister go on to Tatooine, and we'll have some sort of conflict involving like her and Luke. I don't know if we'll see any more Vader. We probably will. It depends. We might get some big, huge fight between Vader and Obi-Wan before the series is up, which I said I'd prefer not to see, but we will. I mean, it would be good just as a fight, but as I said, it wouldn't really make any sense considering the lines that are delivered in New Hope and like the way they approach each other in that movie. It just kind of would be a little weird for them to have met before then, or like since Mustafar. But yeah, anyway, this was definitely my favorite episode of the season so far. So yeah, let me know your thoughts about this episode down in the comments, and if you're excited for the last one, because I know I am. And if you want to see any of my other videos, And if you like this one, leave a like. I'm just like tripping over my words here. Don't mind it. And if you want to see more of my videos, I, my computer just turned off there. It's just all going wrong. Yeah, if you want to see some more of my videos, then, subscribe. I do more than just Star Wars. This is the worst outro of all time, and I'll see you guys later.